Katie O'Reilly, and welcome to KDO's Food Carnival. Once again, in this season 6, episode 3, we are all about gluten-free. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to address some of the other dietary specializations throughout these recipes, but the main component throughout everything is that everything I'm presenting to you today is gluten-free. Now, why is that important? Now, so many people don't realize how very serious a gluten allergy can be. I just came back from my month in Ireland where half the country is celiac. And so gluten can be very dangerous to many people's health. They have entire magazines dedicated to gluten-free recipes because if you're diagnosed with some serious gut energy that's not making you feel comfortable and it's related to gluten and you're thrown into the marketplace to discover an entirely new diet, it can be very confusing. So walk with me, join me in this gluten-free episode. It's so exciting because everything's so delicious and fantastic and fresh, and the ingredients will be singing on your palate. So let's jump into Carnival Kitchen and make some incredible gluten-free recipes. Hi, KDO, welcome to the Carnival Kitchen. I am starting us off in our gluten-free reality with such a delicious dish. Fried rice is all the rage, it always has been. But the best thing is you can either use leftover rice or you can just cook the rice the day before. What you want to do is start with a rice that's not hot. It has to be cooled down, otherwise it'll get real sticky. I'm creating this rice with organic brown rice. Now you can use your white rice varieties if you'd like, but organic brown is going to add that extra vitamin, flair, and good gut health that we're all going to really feel energized with. Let's take a look at how our basic rice is fried. And gluten-free eaters, you are going to dive into this because it is freedom for you. I'm also going to introduce it as a vegan option for many of you that like to eat vegan, and then we can do some accoutrements on the side for anybody who loves their protein, animal protein. I'm starting with an oil. You can choose what type of oil. I would suggest something that can handle the heat like a flaxseed or a rapeseed. But then once again, take only a little bit. And I'm going to show this. This is sesame seed oil. You don't want too much. See that? No more than that, because it's going to flavor it completely. The reason I wanted to show you is because some people just dive in and they pour it in and then they're like, why does it taste funny to me? That's why. Okay, onions and shallots are incredibly healthy for our gut. That we're going to get going on in there. That's our shallot and our onion. We're going to fry those babies up because that's going to season it. Our other ingredients for seasoning that are so healthy, garlic is so good for you. I sing its praises all the time. Add it when you can. And I am not into exact measurements, but this is our beautiful ginger that we are just dicing up fresh. We're adding that as well. Frying this up is going to go fast because we want it to be on a high heat. So we're just going to get that saturated a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I am going to tell you one of the secret ingredients to flavoring all of this is Thai basil. And I'm going to add them into our already clarifying mixture. None of this should get browned. It should just get clear. And very soon we are going to take our organic brown rice, which I cooked yesterday and chilled so it wouldn't be too starchy. You can use white rice, but I love organic brown rice for this dish. And that's going in, and then we're going to just spend some time frying up this organic brown rice. We're going to get it nice and crispy, and then we're going to add some extra ingredients. Okay, so the reason that I added both shallots and onions and now scallions on top to decorate is because onions are fantastic for our intestines. Now our intestines, if we're working with gluten or celiac, it's always in our intestines that we're not absorbing the vitamins. That's where we start feeling uncomfortable. But let's just say we're not even in the arena of being gluten-free or celiac. Just good intestinal health means the world to all of us. It increases our energy. It tells our body how we feel. So, based on the food we put in it, that's how we're gonna feel. Onions are a great family to put in that rice and to eat. Our guts love onions. And that can also include leeks, shallots, anything in the onion family, so feel free. So, we've got a healthy variety right here already. We added some garlic and ginger, as you saw. Those are all great. And now, this is where we get playful, because the one thing we know is that people want to see variety. They want to feel like they're eating with their eyes first, and look at all the color that we're presenting. So a super healthy meal is going to seem very indulgent because you get to play with it and make your own bites. Most importantly for our gluten-free friends, if you're adding soy sauce to season your rice on any level, make sure it's gluten-free. Now, Kikkoman's, this is a huge bottle, of course, because I'm in the culinary world, but Kikkoman's makes a gluten-free. So do a lot of other companies, but go to your grocery store and make sure that it says on the label gluten-free, because it's made with tamarind, it's made with different ingredients. It'll taste delicious. Don't worry about a thing. You're not missing anything. One of the highlights I want to start with is kimchi. Fermented food is fantastic for our intestinal health. It helps us digest. Now, if you're not going to make a quick kimchi, which means like it stays in your fridge for what? Normal shelf life, 5 to 7 days, then you better be real careful about your fermentation. I suggest going to your Asian market and buying a nice, safe, already fermented variety. It's spicy, it's citrusy, it has this effervescence that really makes your palate dance. Kimchi fried rice is all the rage. So if you're looking for something trendy, you're gonna find kimchi fried rice. Now, I haven't added it too because not everybody likes it. I have 4 kids, trust me, not everybody likes anything. So what we wanna do is have that on the side. Red peppers, once again, it depends on who you're feeding. You can add them right in, or you can just saute them up on the side, but that's color and beauty and vitamins. Add it. Cilantro is a great ingredient. Bean sprouts. They are watery, fresh, and crisp. If they're fresh, watch the freshness. They will decompose quickly, and there can be bacteria in there, so make sure when you're buying them, you're using them right away. And that's your safest bet. Wash them real well because they do grow in soil, so avoid that E. coli. All right, baby bok choy. Baby bok choy is crisp and delicious. I just braise mine in the oven with a little garlic and olive oil. It comes out nice and wilty. Then, look at what I've done. I've separated green from root. Why do I do this? This is the base of the bulb, and it's crispy and crunchy. Delicious for texture. It's got wateriness, bursts in your mouth, but also carries that garlicky flavor, so it's a great ingredient to add. The greenery is packed, chock full of vitamins. It's going to add to your fried rice, but once again, not everybody likes anything, so set that on the side. Egg. If you're dealing with our vegan, vegetarian variety, everything so far has been very agreeable to their diet. Once we introduce the egg, you better have ovitarians because that's coming from an animal. So just be aware, because if you don't keep that diet, you sometimes aren't sure. You better ask your guests or put it on the side for your safest bet. Don't mix it right in. And then some people just cannot find it or consider it a meal without an animal protein. So I've just chosen shrimp, some gorgeous shrimp with garlic and lemon and fresh herbs, just thrown in the oven for about 10 minutes, just to cook off a little bit, get that nice caramelization on them, and that's on the side. People can add it in. It's not an aggressive ingredient, but overall, look at this beautiful dish, and aren't you envious of me right now? Entirely gluten-free. I am not missing a thing, and neither will you be. Your family, your friends, yourself, you'll be delighted. This is excellent choice. Hi, Katie O here in the gluten-free Carnival kitchen. All right, now I'm showing you an ingredient that you have to pay particular attention to. Now this is buckwheat soba noodles, and you have to read the ingredients because many of them are gluten-free, but some of them are not. So be particularly careful, especially if you're celiac or you're serving them to somebody celiac. And let's keep in mind, just a warning so you're informed, if you're cooking for somebody who is seriously gluten allergic, you must use different pots and pans. You can't toast their bread in the same toaster. There can be no commingling of wheat because if they're even exposed to it, their bodies can reject all the minerals that they're ingesting. Just a word to the wise. We're on gluten-free, thought I should just educate you. Let's go back to our soba noodles. Right on. So these are actually gluten-free, and I'm showing them in two ways. And one's a cold dish, one is a beautiful warm dish. Now, the noodles themselves, I want to show you. I've boiled them up in advance. Some of them just you can boil like a pasta, but once you take them out of that boiling water, lay them out on a sheet pan so they just cool immediately and don't commingle and get sticky. Stick them in the fridge, let them chill, then utilize them. Even if you have to cover them and lubricate them with just a little sesame oil, that's perfect. Okay, once we're going on it, let's start with our hot soba noodles. Now I'm gonna make the soba noodles in two ways. I have pre-cooked my soba noodles, laid them out on a sheet pan, little bit of sesame oil, and chilled them in the fridge so they're not hot, so they're no longer cooking. Now that's a real tip. Laying them on a thin layer on the sheet pan prevents them from getting that sticky gummy feel when you're working with noodles. Any kind of noodle, actually pasta, a big one. All right, whether it's gonna be hot or cold, we're gonna saute up a little purple cabbage. Actually, not a little, a lot. We're gonna do that and that, okay? Because this is gonna actually be used for both the dishes. We're just gonna get it a little softened and just glaze with our oil. See how that is? Now, if you're planning on doing the cold variety, I'd give it another 30 seconds and remove it from the heat. So let's take some out. About half, maybe a little less than. Okay, here we go. We're going to continue cooking. We are adding scallion. We are adding fresh sliced red pepper strips. Look, it's a beautiful color. Boy. Again, Thai basil leaves. Full Thai basil leaves. These are snow peas that have been julienned. Crispy and earthy. And nothing cuter than baby corn. Nothing cuter than baby corn. I've cut mine into bite-sized pieces because that's how I like it. All right, you're getting a full variety here. We're gonna saute this up for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna add a little bit of that same marinade that I made for the beef and the mushrooms. Not too much, but that's gonna cook into our flavor profiles. That's delicious. And cubed water chestnuts for crunch. If you don't like them, don't add them, but I love them. They don't need to cook that long. This is all gonna just get coated at this point because we wanna maintain the integrity of the vegetables. And we're gonna take our cold soba noodles. We're gonna add them right to this mixture. We're gonna cook this for only 2 minutes, just warming it. And that's gonna be our dish. It's beautiful, decadent, and the smell is so enticing. You would not believe the aroma in my kitchen right now. Quite honestly, I wish this was a smell camera, really. All right, now, how does that differentiate? Because a lot of the ingredients are the same, but there's a slight difference in the marinade that we would be using for the cold soba noodle salad. And cold noodles in an Asian culinary environment right now are all the trend. I mean it. You're going to see them all over, especially in the heat. So let's take a look at how we're making that marinade and how we mix together that salad. Hi, the soba noodles in a cold version is a great option. Served hot or cold, they are delicious, but we're gonna make a marinade and a vinaigrette that's slightly different than the marinade we made for the beef and we used on the hot ones. So, similar ingredients, but just a little bit more acidic. We're gonna also start with a little bit of sesame oil. So depending on how much marinade you need, it's about a tablespoon, teaspoon of our ginger, and sometimes I mix that with a little bit of oil just to get it out. Lime juice, 2 tablespoons of lime juice, that's our beautiful acid. Our gluten-free soy, this time we only have about a tablespoon. And sugar, 1 tablespoon, like I said, refined sugar. If you're not into it, absolutely use your raw honey or your agave. Equal sweetness works. And we're gonna just kind of dissolve that by stirring it and then add our sriracha. That's gonna be the spice level that you desire. I added about 3/4 of a tablespoon for mine. Now this is gonna be a gorgeous cold noodle salad. Let's just watch the assembly. Okay, so just like with the hot soba noodles, I had boiled up the noodles, laid them out on a pan, and chilled them. So these are cold, which is amazing, and all of my ingredients are cold because this is going to be a cold soba noodle. I'm going to add a little baby corn, a little bit of our snow peas, just like the hot ones, but these are not cooked. Now our red pepper I sauteed slightly, so it's still got a little crunch, but it's got a little softness and give. Now, you saw me saute the purple cabbage, and so that's still got some crunch, but again, it's been softened slightly. Thai basil, I have now chiffonade the Thai basil because we don't want the big leaves if it's going to be raw. And of course, cilantro leaves that have been nicely diced, and I have some shaved water chestnuts this time. Any other ingredients you like, feel free. So you can get crazy, but then this marinade just goes right on, and that is going to be mixed together for an incredible cold soba noodle dish. I can smell it already. All right, so I am going to take a bite first of the cold because my palate always craves cold. It's tart, herbaceous, with a gorgeous finish of salty and sweet. And that hot, delicious. Now, I've done a Korean marinated beef. Now let's talk about the marinade on this because this is also the marinade I used in the hot noodle dish. So, let's get going on how I marinated this beef and how do we make Korean marinated steak. It's actually flat iron. Hi, Katie O, and here I am with an incredible Korean marinade for either flank steak or for our vegetarian friends, shiitake mushrooms. But I'm going to show you with the flank steak because that's the one that most people are going to relate to in terms of getting that marinade right on there. Okay, so you see before me a beautiful piece of flank steak. The grains go a certain way. I have no seasoning on this. So all the seasoning is going to go into this marinade, which is going to be 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. And that's going to add that nuttiness that we like. 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. Again, check all of the ingredients for gluten-free because you don't want to buy the mistake. A heaping teaspoon of ginger. And this one's been very ground up and pureed. Same thing with my garlic. A heaping teaspoon. Be a little flexible. It's just a marinade, so you don't have to completely measure. Gluten-free soy, once again. And I've got 3 tablespoons of that because that's going to add the sodium and the umami Asian flavors. Spice. I like to use sriracha. Now you decide how much you want. I've got 2 tablespoons here because it is a marinade. And Korean food sometimes gets a little spicy. So, that's going to add some zest to our mix. Little green scallion, you know, that gut health. Add it when you can. Plus it actually adds, it breaks down in the marinade and kind of adds the onion flavor that you want. I don't ever want to use like an onion powder or anything if I can avoid it, unless it's a homemade dehydrated onion powder. So When it's seasonal, use your scallions. I have sugar here. Now, if you're a person who wants to avoid sugar, use your raw honey. This is when you'd insert your agave. Whatever your choice of sweetener are, go ahead and use that instead. I have a tablespoon and a half of sugar. Now that is refined sugar, so you decide on your diet plan. Toasted sesame seeds. Right on in there. Okay, mixing it all together. We have, a flavor bomb of a marinade going on here. What are we gonna do? Take our pan, put our flank steak in, and cover it completely. Look at that. We want every aspect covered. We're gonna put saran wrap 24 hours in the fridge. It's gonna marinate. When you eat this, if you're a carnivore, it dances on your palate. It's spicy, it's full of flavor, it's been marinating a long time, so that flavor is so infused. After you slice, just drizzle a little extra marinade on there that has not been contaminated. It'll absorb again into that meat. It's just delicious. Really, that's the only word to describe it. It is so full on your palate. All right, let's move this aside and say you are a vegetarian, right? I have shiitake mushrooms. Last night, I stuck them in the oven with that same marinade that had never touched the beef, of course, and I just steamed them up a little bit, let the water come out of the shiitakes, and let the marinade get right in. I covered them, put them in my fridge. Here they are. But texturally, this might be a little difficult for some. So let's jump over to the stove, and I'm gonna show you how to caramelize these. Thanks for joining me over here at the stove with our mushrooms. These are our shiitakes, and it amazes me all the time when I hear people say that they don't like mushrooms because they're beautifully healthy, they're meaty, they are vegetarian, and they absorb flavor. But what people mostly don't like about it is the texture. Shiitakes, marinated just the way I have definitely a soft, slimy texture, which some people may not mind. But if you do, let's get to business. Like I said, these have been marinating overnight. They've got the flavor, they're fully cooked. However, look at that. You don't even need to add oil because the sesame oil that we just added to that marinade is going to act as your lubricant for these mushrooms. Now, I'm gonna cook these down for about 7 to 10 minutes on a very high heat till they get nice and crisp, and wait until you see what comes back. And now you see this crisp outer layer, they're not slimy at all. They eat just like a meat. They have that full marinated flavor. They're as delicious as the steak, if not more so. So nutritious. Any of these items, I've also shown the shrimp again because I think shrimp is a beautiful ingredient. It's so simple. Garlic, lemon, olive oil, fresh herbs, goes with any of these dishes if people want a seafood item. Add your kimchi, again, for fermentation, a little bit of heat. Another vegetable that I think I just have to tell you to go explore is Chinese green beans, or just even regular green beans when you have them in your garden, or they're luscious at the store right now. What you want to do is make them into a Szechuan sauce. That's my favorite. You can do whatever you want because green beans hold their flavor, they're earthy, they're gorgeous. I sauteed them down with ginger, little orange juice is a beautiful ingredient in there, and the secret ingredient is actually a Szechuan pepper. This one's a ground pepper. So I strongly encourage you to add that. That's got a real dynamite kick to it that adds a spiciness that does not come in your regular black pepper. So that is a special ingredient. It's got your traditional Asian ingredients, your ginger, your garlic, your red peppers, your cilantro, and a little bit of soy, but make sure it's, again, gluten-free. So all the things that we've been working with throughout this episode are also, again, very prevalent in the green beans. They are crunchy, delicious. I sauteed them first, then I stuck them in the oven and really got them caramelized. They are so full of flavor. They burst in your mouth, and like I said, they're earthy. I love green beans with texture. And if you want a little extra flair, toast up some garlic chips. Wow, now that'll throw your palate. Believe it or not, I'm about to be right back with some incredible, over-the-top, gluten-free cakes. Hi, KDO, in the gluten-free dessert Carnival kitchen. I bet you didn't think I could do it, but here I am. And I have some of my favorite and some of the trendy desserts available right now, all in gluten-free. How do we make it with gluten-free? Well, it's the flour. Really, the main ingredient we have to watch out for is the flour. But in baking, you have to be really careful of what you substitute your flour mixture with. I have chosen my favorite, and there's a lot of options out there. You can use almond flour, chickpea flour. There's so many options out there. What I like the most is a combination of flours. So if you use a brown rice and a white rice flour ground up in combination with a little tapioca and a little bit of another nut flour like an almond flour or a potato flour even, believe it or not, your absorption is going to be as similar to an all-purpose wheat flour as we would get. So your texture is going to be moist and gorgeous and predictable in your baking. So let's start with what we've got in front of us. Now, I don't know if you remember, if you paid attention to the royal wedding, but the royal wedding cake was elderflower and lemon, a very popular English and Irish ingredient, and because elderflowers grow in the summer and then they make it into a reduction. Sometimes it's a liqueur, sometimes it's just a cordial that doesn't have alcohol and it's combined with a seltzer, but the flavor is brilliant and it's floral with citrus. Another of my favorite cakes of all times that I had my son make over in Ireland when we were there is chocolate cake with white frosting. Then I decided, let's explore it for my gluten-free friends. And here I am, a gluten-free chocolate with white frosting. Oh, it's moist, I know it. Gluten-free makes it real dense. And then of course, seasonal, hearty, healthy, carrot and zucchini. Again, using our gluten-free flours. Moist, decadent, colorful. All three cakes are definitely inviting to the palate. I don't even know which one I should try. So I think I'm gonna try this one. I love carrot and zucchini cake. Natural moisture, natural sweetness. It's delicious. Lots of nuts on mine. Thank you so much for joining. Gluten-free is just the beginning of our journey together. This season 6 is gonna knock your socks off. Let's see each other next week. I'm so excited, and thanks for being with me this time.
Dip my